Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and we're going to talk about Strixhaven, and we're going to talk about why Strixhaven is so frightening to so many Dungeon Masters, and why its drop in 2021 ushers in this new era of Dungeons & Dragons, which demands a higher level of Dungeon Master, and frankly, a higher level of human being to run the game. And why Strixhaven, it really changes everything. All right, so here I'll give you I'd hate to bury the lead. I always want to tell you what I'm talking about right as quick as I can, so I'm going to try to do that. So every book before Strixhaven is the first book to truly deal with high mechanical complexity on the social interaction pillar. Okay, so there's 3 pillars of Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. And actually, the 3 pillars have been in the game since the beginning. They are combat, interaction, and exploration. And I'm convinced they should all be there, right? One of the things is I still stand against, I think it was a mistake for Wild Beyond the Witchlight to try to remove the combat pillar completely. I don't think you should ever be able to play Dungeons & Dragons without all 3 pillars. That's, it's like... I think it's French toast, right? You need eggs, you need milk, and you need bread, right? And you better not try to make that without one of those 3, right? And I think it's the same thing with Dungeons & Dragons. Like Dungeons & Dragons needs those 3 pillars. So the social interact, and what we've had is we've had huge mechanical complexity. We've had 47 years of complexity jammed behind combat, and we've had absolutely jack all close to nothing on the social interaction pillar and on the exploration pillar, right? And everybody was comfortable with this, right? And Strixhaven was like, no, this stops now, right? We will have high mechanical complexity on social interaction pillar. And this, it terrified every single reviewer I saw had one level of fear or another about Strixhaven, and all said the same thing. They're like, hey, if you want to do a magical school, a Harry Potter Redux, run this for your players, and make sure that this peanut butter does not get mixed in your chocolate anywhere, because it's too powerful. It doesn't make sense with the rest of Dungeons & Dragons. And they, and basically, Strixhaven became a book where it was, you just pulled the rock up, right? And it showed you these people are dedicated dungeon masters, but they're still maturing as humans. They don't really value human interaction, social interaction. And some of the things I heard were absolutely shocking. Right in my own comments, people would say, you don't need mechanical complexity on social interaction, right? This is like the most shockingly, like, immature, outrageously shallow thinking you could ever imagine. Because what it really is boiling down to is, it's saying, listen, we've dedicated 47 years to make sure that we know how to kill sentient beings, and that needs incredible amount of complexity. But social interaction doesn't need mechanical complexity. Are you kidding me? Like, do you not understand? You're saying killing sentient beings requires mechanical complexity, but you don't understand that social interaction needs mechanical complexity. And here's the thing: when we were reducing hit points and killing sentient beings, all of it was abstract, right? But this is why Strixhaven is so terrifying to every reviewer out there, except XP3. XP3 came out like a month after the book had dropped, and said, I get Strixhaven now, and it's very good, right? Which I really appreciated that video, but he's the only one, right? Everybody else is like, this cannot get mixed in with your regular D&D, because Silvery Barbs terrified everybody. It was just, the whole book terrified reviewers, right? And here's why, okay? So for 47 years, we had mechanical complexity for reducing hit points and killing sentient beings, right? Now, where we're going right now, it is frightening. They are right to be frightened. It doesn't frighten me, right? Because I understand the value of social interaction, right? I also understand Gary's true vision, which was that all of the pillars would be fully explored. He knew, in my humble opinion, that that humans, because we're the way we are, would focus on hitting each other with sticks for close to 50 years. I think he knew that it was going to have to transition through a hierarchy of complexity, and we're now adding this mechanical complexity for social interaction. So what are we adding for social interaction? Let's talk about it. You're doing three. So before you were reduce hit points or kill, right? And that was just two things you were attempting to do, and you just use different weapons to do them, or use things that proxied weapons, like in the case of a monk, and all that was happening, right? So what do you do? So how do we get to the part now where? So how do we get to? What are we doing now with Strixhaven? Well, it's mechanical complexity for three things: convince, control, convert, right? And this is the deepest end of the pool, right? So your character is now going to be, okay, I'm not interested in reducing your hit points. I'm not introducing in killing you as a sentient being. I'm concerned, right? I'm attempting to convince you, right, to take my point of view and give it to you temporarily on one topic. That's convincing, right? And that's not too scary, right? And I think the vast majority of people dealt with this in social interaction at a very shallow, low level, low complexity way, right? But now, let's get into the second two: control. I'm going to control your character. I can control them for their next action. I can control them for their next day. I can control them permanently. This becomes very scary, right? Because essentially, now I don't think we need to be, we don't need to be frightened of controlling a human temporarily, right? Like so here's this non-player character, and by the way, I'm talking player character, non-player character. We haven't even touched player character yet. Everything I'm saying is player character to non-player character specific. So if I say, hey, my player character is going to control your non-player character for, let's say we're going to task them, right? We're going to say, hey, I'm going to give you 100 gold, and I want you to run this message from Neverwinter to Phandalin, right? I'm controlling your character. They will forgo their own decisions and do the things not that they want, but that I have purchased, right? Now, you're like, well, that's 100 gold. That's just a transaction. But what if I say, okay, well, I'm going to give you 50, right? And the person's goodwill toward me then is going to determine how much gold. And there may even be a point where the person will say, I will do that for free. Right? Maybe I owe you, right? Like, you remember that time when I healed your son when they got shot with a goblin arrow, or my cleric buddy healed your son and he got shot with a goblin arrow, right? Can you run this to me? It's going to take 2 days, and you're like, well, the life of my son is there, 0 gold, right? And I'm going to control your character's actions for 2 days because you're going to head from Neverwinter to Phandalin, right? All right, now, so control. So we have convince and we have control, right? And control. Once you get to control, right, you got to be very careful, right? Because one, can you make someone do something that you want to do but they don't want to do, right? You've got to ask some very clear ethical questions. And guess what? The alignment question is no longer with the player character. It's with you as the player, right? Like, there are things that you can do once you control a non-player character and say, okay, these are the actions you're going to take for the next hour or the next 2 days, right? Which would be outrageously ethically questionable, right? Now, now you're like, well, wait a second. We always dealt with ethics when we were in combat. Yeah, it was very simple, right? Evil. We reduced hit points and killed evil things, right? And it was, and we were on the neutral or the good side, and we're like, your overall approach to the world is going to make the world worse, and so we're going to do, these things to make the world better. So me reducing your hit points or slaying you as a sentient being because there's some justification there because you're evil, right? Like, and we used that for a long time. Now, right now, that is under serious threat. And the next time, and it's the moment Morton Kanan, here, I'll give you the new title of the new book. Morton Kanan presents a ton of reasons not to kill any monsters in the multiverse, because you don't know what their alignment is. You're not good. They're not evil. Why don't you just put your sword back in your sheath? And here's a new world of suck, right? Taking alignment out of the game is an outrageously bad idea, right? Like, because it takes away the reasons for combat, right? Like, and again, like, I don't understand why. Like, this stuff seems so shockingly obvious. I'm not sure why I would even have to possibly explain this to anybody, right? But now we're moving away from reduce your hit points, slay a sentient being. Very straightforward, right? I'm good, you're bad, you're evil. That justifies these actions. To moving into, I'm going to convince, I'm going to control, right? How long am I going to control? What am I going to use that control for? These are highly philosophical, highly ethical questions that have to do deeply, not with player character alignment, but what are you as a human being, right? Like, you as the player, are you lawful good, right? Like, are you chaotic evil because what you use that control for is clearly chaotic and clearly evil, right? Like, these are deep, deep questions. And this is why so many reviewers, 99% of all reviewers, were so frightened by Strixhaven, because they knew this was a new gate. The first gate was Gary Gygax's 1974 gate. We walked through into Unbound Identity and Unbound Immersion. And now we are walking into a new era of myopic focus on social interaction and how to convince, how to control, and how to convert. Let's talk about that last segment, convert. Boy, oh boy, we're in the deep end of the pool now, right? So it's not just enough to control, right? There is now another level, right? Not just, reducing to zero or slaying a sentient being, but what if I can convince a sentient being, what do I get? If I can control a sentient being, what do I get? If I can convert a sentient being, what do I get? Now, what is conversion, right? Like, this is incredible, right? So if I control, I'm like, hey, here's 50 gold pieces. You're going to go from Phandalin, you're going to go from Neverwinter to Phandalin, and I'm now controlling your actions for 2 days, and you're going to forgo your wants and your desires, your goals, your tasks. You're going to do my goals and my tasks. I am controlling you, right? But convert is not control, okay? Convert is this person believes in who I am, what I say, and is converted to do what I want. They are like, my goals and desires are secondary to the goals, my non-player character goals and desires are secondary to the goals and desires of this player character, because that person is a hero and I am a person, right? Like, that person has goals that I want to see happen in the world, and I don't even know what those goals are. I just trust that the good spirit, the person over there, I trust them so much that I will subjugate my own desires, tasks, goals, and accomplishments, and I will dedicate myself to accomplishing the goals every moment of every day to that person, because I am converted, right? This is where we're heading with Strixhaven. Convince, control, convert, right? And this changes the question of where alignment is. And this is another thing, is I don't think the Wizards of the Coast design team even understands what they're... I think, when I see them removing alignment in Monsters of the Multiverse, it's clear to me they don't fully understand where they're going. Because guess what, people? The alignment is not going away. It's right there. Nothing is changing. Alignment is shifting from your sheet to your heart, right? Like, your physical meat heart in your body is now going to carry alignment, right? And you are going to need to say, hey, I now have the complexity, I have the mechanical complexity given to me by Strixhaven to convince, control, and convert, right? And now I need to answer these ethical, philosophical questions with every move in the game, right? What you played before with Dungeons & Dragons was simple and shallow and nothing compared to where we are headed now. right? And your intense information about long swords versus great swords, right? And how much damage. What you're going to learn about now is human minds, hearts, and souls. What makes human beings tick, right? And everything before it was nothing compared to the importance, the benefits, the danger, the magnitude of where we're heading now. Strixhaven terrified every reviewer in 2022 except me and XP to 3, right? And they were right to be frightened, because this will change them mind, body, and soul, right? This will make you ask questions of not what is the alignment of your player character, but what is the alignment of you every day. Who are you as a person? This is the new second gate, in my humble opinion, that is being opened to honor Gary. And that is why Strixhaven frightened so many people so quickly, so intensely. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.